So I guess this movie is Disney and Marvel's way of showing us what Deadpool would be like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, since this movie is PG-13 and Ryan Reynolds can only seem to play Deadpool. And welcome to my safe haven, everyone. If you are seeing me and hearing my voice, thank you so much for joining me on another review here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. So hopefully if you're here, you wanted to be here, didn't accidentally click something, and then as soon as you see me, you click right off. But with that said, we're here to talk about the latest movie starring Ryan Reynolds called Free Guy. Now, have you guys heard of Free Guy? Have you seen the trailer? Did this movie look like it was something that was interesting to you? Free Guy officially releases next week, August 13th. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Disney for allowing me the opportunity to get an early screener for Free Guy. And before I jump into the review, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, it'll really help with the YouTube algorithm. And also, again, let me know in the comments below if you're interested in seeing this movie. Are you excited about this movie? What are your thoughts and predictions regarding this movie? Do you think this movie is going to be fun, or is it just another curse of the video game movie that always seems to fail? Let's get the conversation going. Like, comment, interact for the algorithm. Now let's get this review going. So yeah, like I mentioned, Free Guy is starring Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Comer, and Taika Waititi, and it's directed by Shawn Levy, who I looked up his filmography on IMDb, and it turns out he actually directed a couple episodes of The Secret World of Alex Mack, which is a throwback, but that was my show back in the day. I used to wish so hard I had Alex Mack's power, and I was just waiting for like a chemical substance to like hit me as I was walking on my way to school. But sadly, all these years later, it never happened, and I'm still waiting for like my letter from Hogwarts or some type of powers to show up in my life, but I guess real life isn't that interesting. And this movie was also co-written by Zach Penn, who also, which is interesting, wrote Ready Player One. And the reason I say this is interesting because I'm like, this movie is very Ready Player One-ish. So here's the synopsis. A bank teller, Ryan Reynolds, discovers he's actually an NPC, which means non-player character, inside a brutal open world video game called Free City that will soon go offline. And so like I said, video game movies do not have a great track record. Like, I'm just waiting for a great video game movie or TV show, and there have been some, but for the most part, most of them have been trash, and I don't understand why, because a lot of video games have great storylines and great immersive worlds, and yet they can't seem to get it right for movies. I would say, interestingly enough, the best video game movie for me is Detective Pikachu, which also stars Ryan Reynolds. And I know some people I saw online not consider this to be a video game movie because it's not really based off of anything, but the whole premise of the storyline is it takes place in a video game world, and there are video game rules and video game characters and video game players. So just because it's not based off an established property, I still consider this to be a video game movie. And overall, I have like two reactions and two conflicting thoughts regarding this movie. So we'll start with the positive. I mean, obviously, for the most part, every time you see Ryan Reynolds on screen, you can't help but laugh, even when it's in interviews, because Ryan Reynolds comes from an improv background, and so he can make you laugh with anything, any topic, anything you throw at him, he can make you smile. And that's no different in this movie with the dialogue and the chemistry that he has with the actors and just his overall performance in general. And as a person that is a heavy gamer, mostly Sony PlayStation, I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the world of Free City, and I enjoyed exploring this video game world. And I enjoyed seeing a lot of these NPCs, these non-playable characters, basically having their worlds disrupted. Because I think of this like almost in a way like a Grand Theft Auto and how it takes place. I think it takes place in like Liberty City or San Andreas, depending on the Grand Theft Auto game. But throughout most of Grand Theft Auto, what are people doing when they play in Grand Theft Auto? They're like running over the people that are just walking on the streets. They're like committing crimes and just killing random people. And that's part of what makes the game fun. And because, again, they're called non-playable characters, they're always in the background, you never really think about those characters or those people or the lives that they're supposedly living within the game. And so I thought the concept in and of itself was pretty clever. And even on the poster, the tagline that it says, "Life's too short to be a background character." Like, I enjoy that premise. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to mention Joe Keery from Stranger Things. He also plays a major role in this movie, and I enjoyed his character as well. And yeah, like overall, I had fun with this movie. Like, I pretty much laughed at all the jokes, and I enjoyed a lot of the characters, at least the main characters within this world, played by Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Kramer, and Joe Keery. And then, of course, you got Taika Waititi as the villain, and Taika Waititi, he's always funny. And also, I won't say too much, this is a non-spoiler review, but in this movie, and this is like the most fun part of the entire movie for me, there is a very surprising moment and a surprising cameo that happens towards the end of this movie. And I was just like, what? Why am I not surprised that this is happening in this movie? I'm pretty sure Ryan Reynolds pushed for this, and I absolutely loved it. And even the audience, now granted, I wasn't with a general audience, but the audience that was in there with me, even they had an outward reaction towards the moment that happens at the end. Now, this is kind of where I have conflicting thoughts, where I say I have two reactions to this movie. Because yeah, overall, I laughed at the jokes, I enjoyed the world, and the acting performances were pretty good. However, there's certain things about this movie that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and why I probably didn't like it as much. I feel like the majority of audiences will love this movie overall, but this is where I come into my issues, and I can't help but feeling the way I do. And so if you don't feel the same way, that's perfectly fine. All movies are subjective, but like I said, I can't help but feeling the way I do. And I kept trying to tell myself to like not pay attention to it, but I just couldn't help it, and it like annoyed me. So my big criticism is there's like one major black character in this movie, and it's played by Lil Rel Howard. Quick insert, I noticed that while I was editing the video, I said his name was Lil Rel Howard, and it's actually Lil Rel Howery, but I say Howard throughout the whole video, so just bear with it. I'm not going back to re-record it. Who most people know as the best friend in Get Out. And I get that Lil Rel Howard is a comedian, so you're not going to hire a comedian to not be funny, but at the same time, I mean, same thing with like Ryan Reynolds. Like I mentioned, every single movie that Ryan Reynolds is in, because I guess he has the improv background and everything like that, he's virtually the same character. That's why he works so well as Deadpool, because him playing Deadpool is really just him playing himself. He just dials it up to an 11. So you think of like the proposal. Granted, I haven't seen every single Ryan Reynolds movie, but you think about The Proposal, even a little bit in when he was in Blade 2, or Detective Pikachu, he was like PG-13 Deadpool, or Hitman's Bodyguard, or Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. And that's not to say he can't do other things, because again, I haven't seen every single Ryan Reynolds movie, and I heard he was really good in a movie called Buried, so I haven't seen that, so I can't comment on that. But for the most part, he pretty much plays the same person. And I mean, good on him. I'm not criticizing that, because he's making millions of dollars playing him, and he does a great job playing him. Yes, I get you're hiring Lil Rel Howard to bring some comedy to the movie, but at the same time, honestly, I'm just tired of the trope of the funny black best friend. And that's what annoyed me throughout the majority of the movie. That's what Lil Rel Howard's character was there for. That's all he was. And I was just like, are we, like, seriously, are we still doing this? And then, of course, and I believe this was in the trailer, but there's a moment where Lil Rel Howard's character, his name is Buddy, he's giving advice to Ryan Reynolds' character. He's propping him, basically the black character's propping up the white character, and that's the only purpose he serves. And potential spoiler, if you don't want to know, like, fast forward like 15 seconds. I'm gonna say it without really saying it, but there's something that happens with this character, and I'm pretty sure most of y'all can guess. That's what really kind of pissed me off, and I was just like, oh, come on. Now, this is a video game world, they do walk it back, but I'm still just like, But, and then not only just that, but I also found the movie to be very predictable. Aside from that moment that happened at the end, there were no real surprises that happened in this movie. Like, there's a character that shows up at the very end, and I'm kind of like, I wish they saved him for, like, the movie. Like, they have him on a poster. I think they show him in the trailer, and I'm like, it would have been better, a much better surprise and more fun if we've never seen this character. And I'm talking about the muscular version of Ryan Reynolds named Dude. I feel like that moment would have been funnier if we didn't know it was coming. And overall, like, when a a movie is predictable, because I mean, everything has been done before. There isn't really anything new under the sun. I always say, I mean, if you had a fun time, regardless of whether it was predictable or not, it's still enjoyable. But I guess for me, because there was that lingering annoyance in the back of my mind, it made the predictability of the movie less fun for me. I think, because I went with a friend of mine, I feel like she enjoyed this movie way more than I did. Now, that's not to say I didn't enjoy the movie, but I just couldn't get that nagging, out the bed, that crawl, like a bug crawling on my neck. I just couldn't get that feeling out of my mind. And so because of that just made me a little bit more annoyed with other things regarding the movie that I probably wouldn't have had if that wasn't there. And like I said, I feel like most people will enjoy this movie way more than I did. But with that said, I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love the movie like I think most people would. And so for me, I would say that Free Guy is a high breaking even. And part of me kind of feels like if I had an inclination to want to watch this movie again, I would give it a low hit. But because I'm like, yeah, it was a fun time, but I have no interest in watching it again, that's why I would give it a high breaking even. But like I said, I'm very curious of what you guys will think about Free Guy. So when you do see Free Guy, come back to this video and let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this video. Like I said, I have a feeling that the majority of people will love this movie. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked like the Rotten Tomatoes score, but I'm pretty sure it's going to have like a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes and everything like that. I'm just the outlier. But hey, you're here on this channel for my opinion, not for everybody else's opinion. So yeah, there you go. Also, this wasn't a big problem in my head, but now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, can we get some gay romance? I'm tired of heteronormative storylines. Can we have Ryan Reynolds' character fall in love with Joe Keery? Like, instead of the girl and the standard stereotypical fall in love with the first, fall in love at first sight with the girl you see, and all of a sudden there's romance and yada 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 with all those tropes. Like, that was another trope that was in this movie. I was just like, again, it didn't bother me as much because I'm used to it. Like, everything is freaking straight. People always say, why does it always have to be gay? It's always straight. It's never gay. But I was just like, come on. But anyway, whatever. I'm just talking at this point. But anyway, if you could do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button again, it'll really help with the channel and the YouTube algorithm. And this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.